Hi friends, welcome back to day 6 of the business plan challenge to write your business plan in 7 days. And I hope you can see at this point that lean business planning is really about integrating planning into growing your business and running your business. So it's, if you're trying to create a really big business that involves a lot of investment money and a lot of stuff to get started, you have to do a lot more planning first. But if you're already in business or it's more of a self-employed business, that sort of thing, you can really integrate planning into running your business now. And that's especially true for the exercise that I'm talking about today, which is really breaking down your goal into milestones and the tasks or actions that you need to do to achieve each milestone. And the way I like to do that is in congruence with a budget. And a budget is just thinking through what you expect your income to be and what all of the expenses will be given those actions and initiatives that you're planning in alignment with your milestones and what you want to achieve. So that's what this sheet is about today. It's really laying this out. And if you're already in business for yourself, I hope you can also really see how you can start, by learning in this training and then really coming back to these plans and developing them as you let them sink in. You really do create business plans in any case over time, and it's really learning the aspects that you want to plan for, which is what we've been covering each day, and then letting your ideas form once you have this information. No one sits down and just goes, okay, this is what I need, and blurts out an entire plan. So it's really a matter of getting clear on what you do know and what you are clear about, and then letting the other pieces fill in. And if you're already in business and you're not using a budget is a great place to start. Just sitting down and estimating what next month's sales, what you expect them to be, and what you expect your costs to be. And then as you go throughout next month, just evaluate and look at your totals as you go. Where are you at in relation to them? That's a big aspect of running a business because the money does equal your ability to stay in business. All right, so in thinking through milestones, this is a 1-year template, and you can start by filling in that goal you had over here on the right. And what this allows you to do is say, okay, to get to that goal, a milestone is really, it's not a bunch of tasks. A milestone is describing where you need to be at the end of that quarter, right, to be on your way to your goal. So I have this divided out in 4 milestones, one for each quarter. So after you fill in your goal, you can work backwards and fill in your milestones, at least what they would need to be to reach that goal, right? And from there, for each month, you can put in, you can see where my cursor is. For each month, you can then put in the actions that it would take to get there. And the reason I like to have those on the budget is because it lets you consider, what do you expect the implications of those actions to be on your sales, which you enter down here. Now, and then of course the expenses as well, all in the same column down here. And expenses can be a good starting point. We already walked through in day 3 what, for a month, what you would expect sales to be for your main service or product, and then what the direct expenses are. And so this first section allows you to put in your sales, put in your direct expenses. Now, the reason I have a few lines here is in case you have like 4 areas that you've divided your sales into, or 4 product categories or products that you've divided out. If you only have one, you can simply hide these other rows. You just select, right click, and then hide rows, and they'll disappear like that. Now, what I'll divide down here as well, hide down here, just so we have a tighter viewpoint here. So your sales minus your direct costs, and I cover that in day 3. If you missed it, be sure to go back and I walk you through estimating these two. That equals your gross profit. And this calculates your gross profit percentage. And all that means, we'll do an example here. If we have a main service, and I think it was, let's say we did 22 services at something like $1,500 each, $33,000. And then our direct costs were something like, and so all I'm doing is pressing equals the number of sales per month times the star above the 8 times, I think we said 600 for direct costs, 13,200. So that gives us a gross profit of 19,800. And then you can see the percentage pops in here. And what that means is that 60% of every sale is percentage that's profit out of every additional sale you do. And this can also be called contribution margin. And what that means is your contribution margin to cover all of your overhead costs. This is a good way to think about things, right? Because if you take on one more service each month, it lets you know, well, 60% of that is going to go to cover your overhead costs. And thinking about your numbers like this can be helpful, especially as you grow and make these decisions on a bigger level. Sometimes what happens is when people just go to earn more money, especially in small businesses, they'll actually be losing money in some of their services or products and not realize it. So although they're moving more cash flow, they're raising their costs in some areas and they don't know where. That's why I'm doing this in a simple way, but so that you can really start to think about it this way, because it can be really powerful and really mean the difference between more success or struggle. So then you come down to the expense section and overhead costs, and you want to think through all of your expenses. You know, you may have office expenses, and you can label these whatever makes sense for your business. You know, just describe the expenses you have, utility costs, vehicle costs, like whatever you have, and then estimate them for the month. And if you kind of know more how much you spend on a weekly basis, you can do an equal sign and then do 4 times 100 or whatever it might be. And with a budget, you know, it's not about getting the numbers exact. It's about getting a handle on the numbers and really knowing them in your head. So once you fill in all of your expenses, I left plenty of columns there, you'll get a total down here, and then that amount is subtracted from your gross profit. Now, right now, this is actually incorrect. Let's fix that. So gross profit minus 400. There we go. All right, and that's it. And so, you can really, sometimes it's helpful, you can certainly just start with the expenses. And you can do out, if you have a lot of stuff going into this number, you might want to do it out on its own worksheet in more detail. That can be helpful too. That's what I would typically do. But it can also be really helpful to look at the big picture like this to plan to achieve your goal. That is all for the budget and planning your milestones to achieve your goal, the actions you might plan each month, and then being able to think through your total sales and the direct costs of those sales, which I talked about in day 3, and then really thinking through all of your overhead costs and expenses and seeing what your net income comes out to each month. And so if you're planning to achieve a goal and you're doing some bigger actions that you don't normally do to achieve a milestone each month, then you may want to, like you may have a loss down here, right? And that can give you an opportunity to know exactly how much money you actually need so that you can then come up with other ways to find that money and fund growing your business. But if you don't know the numbers, then it's far more overwhelming, and we tend to make it far more difficult in our heads than if we actually can see the numbers. But as with all things money, especially if you're already in business or kind of struggling with the money, just getting familiar and not avoiding the money can have a huge impact. But that can be a real internal process and really a personal development area when it comes to business. It can really be an up leveling to develop that side of our business. So, congratulations on getting to day 6. And if you haven't gotten this template yet, it will be available over at amandarussell.mba/business plan challenge. So congratulations on day 6. There's one more day, and I will see you tomorrow on day 7. Bye.